Hello and welcome everybody back to the League of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Kebablord here, and well, it is about time we continue our big let's play in Anno 1800. As you can see, I got the Land of Lions DLC, and we are going to have a lot of fun with it, so time to activate it. So, in the last episode we were still dealing here in the Arctic region in order to have a bit of fun, but well, there's something that we might still do in the future, finishing all the little quests that there are and so on, but I totally wanted to avoid repetition or grind. So
battle deck to attention.
And here we are now back at our glorious capital, on which we did not work for an eternity. It will also be possible that we are going to reduce the amount of investors that we are having, if the DLC works as I think it does. But yeah, about expedition. So many. So, canal to Land of Lions open. The Culysma Canal to the continent of Enbesa receives its first traffic of ships. Explorers are queuing up at the canal lock, so eager are they to explore the lands beyond. That sounds like something for our discovery ship.
Telescope.
Oh well,
These
S
fabled
Veen.
lands exist after all.
I totally forgot that we also have an entire military fleet here. Okay, so the Culysma Canal. Yeah, we are definitely going to tackle that one. At least if a game does load properly, yeah, with that amount of buildings. Whoa, what's happening? So, by the way, track occupied, so nothing special. Well, then let's get started.
I'll captain for ye till blood boil or freeze in my veins.
To start the expedition, go to the world map. Or I just go here. What about that? Okay, potential rewards, new region. Well, we are going to assign a ship, and it is going to be the Veen. We have way too many ships available.
Aye, 'tis fair.
And again, it does not show the values, but well. Capture
I've given up
Loni.
my pipe.
New
Don't want a dead
Kebablord,
man's
we need
chest.
those items, so ship items. Okay, we want navigation. So that should do the trick. Do we have a combination of navigation and faith available? Doesn't really seem like it, but well, we have items for that. Right, we can't socket 2 times the same item there. So, and then we get here now diplomacy.
Deep down, I know you're a tattletale.
Okay, that should do it, and the last one is faith. Brother Hilarious, purveyor of monastic mixtures. Well, we know a Brother Hilarious from Anno 1404, so there's that. Here, a bit of medicine. And a bit more of medicine never hurts. And now up to getting a few rations on board. You will get champagne, just in case. And now, my dear Sander van Veen, go forth. And discover a new continent. Change train skin. Imperial train or default train? Yeah, we stay with Imperial. I hope we could...
Ready for action.
Ah, here now. Change ship skin. I see. A little change. Okay, we've now built so many of these ships. We actually have to go kill the pirates. And that now looks way more like a freighter. By the way, diplomacy with you. Do you like me? Not really.
A champion of civil rights, I hope. How could I possibly refuse?
In the future I can also do quests for you. But I can't for you. Maybe I really need all these battle cruisers to bring her down. Me was planned as a finale anyway. Interesting. Apparently it also, the skin also changed the appearance of the icon. That is good to know. So, in the old world, how many ships do we have? Okay. I totally forgot that we have this super big trade fleet here.
Their blood'll beat while your heart still does.
Oh, that is interesting. Extravaganza streamer.
Yeah, I stole this ship. Start as you mean to go on.
I guess that is one that we could actually buy if we were allied with her. Maybe something for future.
Help yourself, Gav.
Okay, what kind of gift do you have?
You ain't half good to us.
Could definitely be worse. So is there anything we can do with our palace in order to get more influence? Because that is going to be really annoying. We will have to increase the amount of influence that we are getting somehow.
Can this enigma be decoded? Can the following problem be solved?
An ancient people worshipped this golden crop as it kept them from starvation. So that could be only two things. Either crop or how many quests do we have here? Actually,
How we
0.
long to get back to the blue.
Quod erat demonstrandum.
Yeah, okay, that was a bit very easy. So, okay. and so
Bring
you also
back
have a
the
quest
good
for
old
me.
times, boy. You're not too important to help an old man up a hill.
And where is your boy Miguel? Looking for help at one of my chapels.
I'm feeling really proud.
And we got the morning glory. Sounds so wrong. Okay, time to fast forward time. In the meantime, here in the old world we can see if there is something interesting to buy.
Stations. I can tell you're searching for something.
Oh yes, more items.
What makes you think I trust you?
Effects Jewelers. It's a gold building process. Gold ore. Yep, that is totally
What makes you
want.
think I trust you?
Hold the crane.
Just how is your conscience?
Instead of its usual workforce, the building employs worker workforce. Occasionally produces extra film. Yeah, that actually sounds good.
Cargo stations.
Not everything of yours is out in the open.
So what do we have here? Effects resonances. +8. Brass instead of gold. Okay. Effects Old World Crop Farms. Productivity +80%. Occasionally produces extra potatoes. Yeah, she is good. Lily is good as well.
New orders.
God scourges those with something to hide.
Really? They put a limit on here? Come on.
Cargo stations.
That's not fair.
Fleet ready?
Experience can teach a person a lot.
Aye. Don't touch.
We have the devil to pay.
So, what do we have here? Oh, the journey to Enbesa. That looks a little bit different. Will it be Olispo or else?
Live by the sword.
Yeah,
You are
here.
so generous.
Will it be Olispo or Alsuk? Choose your next port of call on your voyage to Enbesa, Land of Lions. Whenever you visit a port, new ports will become available. You can also attempt to visit every single port, for example, stopping at both Olispo and Alsuk. Great rewards may come to those who succeed in this, but remember to keep an eye on your morale. Well, then let's go to A streetcar named Olispo. The lights of Olispo glimmer through the spray as your sailors hasten to secure their mooring. Music and merriment spill from the narrow streets, wafting aromas of warm bread and savory fish fresh from the tide. With thrill of pent-up anticipation, the sailors stream off the ship and excitedly crowd onto a pristinely new yellow tram, laughing as it rickets off into a warm night hailed loudly by festival locales. A flurry of impulse sleeve turns to them genially. Buon notte, friends. From whence does this tide bring you? Lie, we hail from Il Campanile, or we serve Her Majesty? Yeah, we lie. Maravilloso! I have keened their wonderful people and hard-working to a fault. Come, we must drink, and I know just the place. Follow me. The sailors clamber off the tram gracelessly, unaccustomed to its peculiar rhythm before following the man through a maze of passages lit by antique oil lamps hanging from balconies. Stopping before a low stone arch, he reaches through the overgrown ivy, pulling open an unseen door. A flare of chattering and low lights greets you, wafting dark-scented spirits and fresh-roasted food. Try the pasties de nata, our sweet secret custody pride, and of course our famous port. Your trade was accepted. The innkeeper navigates through the thronged room expertly, avoiding boisterous patrons to set a large platter onto the table. Your crew swiftly attack the warm pastries, wolfing down the soft custard with aplomb. While Jose introduces a merry waltz of friends, each eager to toast the newcomers to their city. When the festivities peter out in the late hours of the night, your sailors trickle back to the ship, full-bellied, light-headed, and free of care.
I can tell you're searching for... Cargo stations! Don't touch. Just browsing?
Just browsing and trying to get rid of all
Your
these
ship
ships
has
that I don't
returned from
need.
its voyage.
Because influence,
yes,
it's
the
always influence.
Cargo boat at the ready.
What a jolly. Ah, yes, the...
Aye.
Anyone for croquet? Taking the initiative. Sir Archibald Play.
Cargo stations.
Ah, yes, the...
Hold the train.
So now we
I
freed up
present
some
my-
influence.
Olio reporting in.
Anyone for croquet?
New orders. Olio reporting in.
Don't tell me I've missed it.
So, and what do we have here? Now way
The
cheaper
royal
prices.
seal upon it.
Yeah, but there's really not much. 50% workforce.
We careen into the unknown.
I honestly did not expect him to have good items. Oh well. So... Expeditions, the Land of Lions. Palm-flanked Arabesques. You dock at a small lively port on the northern coast. While most of your crew replenish supplies and repair the damage suffered in recent storms, some decide to head off to explore the local souk. Streets fold and unfold into each other, bedecked in a wide array of colors and dizzyingly heady unknown scents, which so confuse your sailors that they become lost in the weave of passages. Seeing their distress, several young men in beggarly clothes offer to guide them through the maze. So, we can either shoot them off or examine the ragged man. Yeah, diplomacy, of course.
Peoples as you.
One of your crew members singles out a promising intellectual with sleeves intricately patterned with dark arabesque lines. It is only when he eagerly draws near that you realize the lines are actually inked directly upon his skin, the verses of holy text in his native script. It is evident that he is well known despite his lowly means, and so helpful is he in describing the lore and history of a city that your diplomat cannot help but be impressed by his earnestness. When the time comes to pay him, your sailor instead offers him an apprenticeship. With your captain's approval, the young man, however, is reticent, and claims his elderly family could not provide for itself without him. He insists upon meeting his family in the hope of convincing Professor Razak. Okay, the man's home is barely more than a hovel, tucked away in an alcove on one of the narrower kutchis threading the souk. His parents greet you worried, offering bland tea with oft-infused leaves, and it pains you to think it is probably the best they have to offer. The debate is long and heated, with much arguing back and forth. The elderly couple are evidently worried as to their fate when they can no longer provide for themselves. However, it is with a heavy heart that they ultimately relent and give him their blessing, imploring you to care for him as one of your own. The man's home is barely more than a hovel. Okay, we already got that one. Yeah, continue the journey. Now, go to the Ancient Labyrinth.
New orders?
I can tell you, we are getting all the rewards. Okay, now we got here all the ships that we don't need, so... Wait a second, if those are not active on the roads... We still have rum, right? And cigars. Call sick to New Kebab Town. Yes. And rum from Maine to New Kebab Town. Because, if I recall correctly... Okay, you're producing quite a bit. Yeah. So, and if you compare with New Kebab Town, that is, by the way, one of the new features. Interesting. That really is interesting. Okay, and for the roots of coffee, we should... Yeah, we have 14 ships on that. Well, we are consuming 144 per minute, so... Okay, that also means we have a lot of ships now that we actually don't need.
Begin the turn.
And we can afford getting rid of them.
Around.
Okay, and here in Cape Trelawney. I mean, sure, we have here a shit ton of better cruises.
Room to maneuver. Begin the turn.
Fit for you, chunk for me.
Okay, an epic treasure hunt as it seems.
Bring her around.
And here we have a new quest somewhere, according to the minimap.
This must appear ungrateful, even with aid. I fear it.
Really? You need ponchos? Hey, you can travel to the new world and try to get ponchos. Which is a bit weird, but whatever floats your boat.
We can move on this.
Admiral! Admiral!
So we need felt and goulash and coffee. Alright, I can...
Surely, but slowly, coming along.
Yeah, that works. No, that is not what I wanted here. Go away, go away. Stop covering what I want to use, so...
We're adrift.
The Ancient Labyrinth. Alone in the darkness, I cannot hear her cries. Deep beneath this pleasant island of lavender and thyme, she has fallen to a musty, airless pit. She gathers herself and remembers the few safety matches left in her pack. You are her, she is you. Lighting a match, you are dumbstruck by a many-frescoed room, venerable and forgotten. A woman with a bull is the centerpiece. The great beast seems so vulnerable under her caress. The outline of a majestic horned door faces north. By a more humble passage heads southward. Well, we are going for the humble passage. In the next chamber, you find a set of stone shelves with fragments of wooden figures upon them. Men, horses and bulls. Toys, perhaps? A distant growl rumbles across the wall, stirring dust from a pale fresco. Facing east, a swan door. Facing north, flocks of heroes make up a labyrinthian mosaic surrounding a pillared arc. Enter the Heron Labyrinth. Mind-bogglingly complex mazes are etched in dark blue over every tile and floor, walls, floor and ceiling. In the center, a lone figure stands, minuscule, amidst the labyrinthine landscape. The fresco in this room depicts a lame metalsmith. Just then, you notice something good lapping at your feet. Water, briny and pale. It seems to be seeping in from a room not far off, facing west. Enter the western room. An opening in the ground is slowly drawing in sludgy water from all parts. A fountain, perhaps? A ship dominates a large fresco on the wall. You wonder if it ever managed to return from its voyage unscathed. A large door with a familiar pattern opens to the south. You turn to face it when you notice a second, smaller door to west. A soft hiss, wind perhaps, seems to be coming from it. Before the wind, you push the broken door open. Something on the floor glistens not far off. Reflected sunlight, you close the distance hurriedly before realizing with horror that it was no light but a snake, long and sinister. All around you its brethren slither curiously out of countless unseat nooks. You take a terrified step backwards and hear an angry hiss. You almost stepped on one. Stomp the ground with all your might. You pound the ground with all the energy in your young limbs, hoping the vibrations will be enough to chase the brutes away. You hear silkiness as many of them edge worriedly back into their hidden abode. Suddenly, a movement by your anchor grabs your eye. One of the snake means to attack you. Descend the uneven steps. A gaping chasm stares up at you, where the floor has collapsed into a distant cave far below. A smoke-tarred beam, narrow and aged, stretches over the pit to the other side. Crouch and crawl along the beam. You kneel down on the edge of the beam and crawl painfully across its dark narrow surface. There is the slightest of creaks before the beam gives way, rotten and broken by ages, and you fall into the darkness. The tumble is shorter than expected, however, and you promptly find yourself, bloodied and bruised, but alive, facing a tall door. Chestnut wood, half faded, supports an alarmingly lifelike carving of a bull's head. A cavernous rumbling, or is it growling, seeps in from behind the door. Darkness there and nothing more. Footsteps echo against a distant vaulted ceiling. You reach for a light and find one match left. One match, and then darkness. Advance without light. You tread a precautious path across the room, hands outstretched, fumbling for an exit. Something cold grazes your hand, then a moist, warm breath slowly exhaled. You feel a prone spur jutting into the palm of your extended hand. Growling, thunderous, and ominous surges in your ears and face. Strike your last match. Reward discovered. The great bovine head, cruel-pronged, flares into life as you strike the match. You let out a squeal, then something catches your eye. Moss, growing on the creature's eye. A statue. Lifelike to a fault and of the finest craftsmanship, you discover that the brackish warm air gushing in from a hidden aperture in the wall on which it is set is being amplified ingeniously by the marmoreal beast's mouth. A momentous discovery. An entire civilization, a hidden culture, a forsaken sanctuary, an epic for the ages. Thrilled, you reach behind the creature's neck to a glimmer of light and pry open the brittle wall behind it to emerge into the fresh air of the day. And we got the bullhead Rhyton, a ritual drinking vessel found in Ancient Labyrinth, carved from a single block of black steatite. Accept. Okay, continue your journey. Now time to go to the crocodile theater. So, and you, in the meantime, can buy expeditions.
Zeppelins will take off, you'll see. Yeah, soon they'll all want a piece of my lady blimp.
Okay, I guess that is enough. Time to deliver that.
This city is a magnet for genius.
Sir Charles Rafferty, Metropolitan Commissioner. Oh, is he related to John Rafferty from Anno 2205? Ah, now I can just accept there.
I'm glad. At least it's not any busier.
Your ship has returned
Progress.
from its voyage.
Progress. So much progress. Okay, and you guys.
Just the ready. Bring her around.
Okay, you two can go to the old world. Okay, but the notifications.
Altitude stable.
So, and from here, we now need ponchos. Yeah, I have a few more, just in case. Oh god, time to go back to capture Lonnie.
New orders.
You are sure you weren't followed? I am so happy someone could help us.
Oh, also interesting items, but
Ready to
that is not
evacuate
why
at
I'm
a
here.
moment's notice.
Hold the crane.
We would welcome more volunteers.
Yeah, you don't need volunteers. What you need is to give me money.
We search all our...
Cargo stations.
You are sure you weren't followed? We search all our...
Hold the crane.
You are here to help?
Yeah, since I am already at maximum money, it doesn't really make a difference.
We're running low on everything.
Olio reporting in.
We would welcome more You are sure you weren't followed? You are here to help?
So now we got over 100 more influence. Nice. I need to go back to capture Lonnie and see if there's something else I can put into the palace. Affects all monsters reader. Okay, for one additional item. Yeah, that is unfortunately something that I need. Plus one influence for engineer residences. I want to, but no.
We have the devil to pay.
Improve specialists visiting public moorings. Yeah, we don't really need that. Now the question is, of all the influence that we have, what eats more away? It's the museum. So
A milestone in the world of finance.
Yeah, that helps us. Face artisan residences, oh yeah, that could be for more money, but that is not really necessary. Citywide web act, yeah, that would make power plants really strong. More happiness. We don't really have artisan and engineer residences, right? Range of connected variety theaters, yeah, we don't have that many. So, our attractiveness is now 9,500. Huh. Well, we were able to increase happiness. And you know what that means? That means more often events happening. So what do we get here? 300%. Yeah,
Your ship has
so
returned
not
from its
changing
voyage.
that. I can already tell you. Okay, so now for the next expedition. Tomb Raiders, you're alone seeking the fabled lost necropolis, a fable that seems just about credible when eyeing the pale golden shimmer of the windswept dusk from the seat of your camel. Somewhere out there in these wastes, beyond cyclopean basalt pillars, may lie the hoard of kings of old, and its greatest prize, the Vigil of War, a statue said to be made from the purest gold and inlaid with countless gems. Your stopover is a busy city on the Delta, not far from the supposed site of the tombs. A young woman with an academic demeanor hails you as you cross paths in the National Museum. I have found something, she says, and seek a responsible person to help the local museum recover it. So... And of course we agree to help out of the kindness of our hearts.
Superstition.
Very senior lecturer. You recognize the insignia of the prestigious House of Science University on the young woman's lap, an erudite scholar, no doubt, explaining at great length that she cares little for riches and only wishes to see the history of her people returned to this museum. She lays a ragged, age-tarnished map on the delicate table in a musty back office. Strange symbols abound all over it, etched over criss-crossed lines that all lead up to a city facing a jackal's head. As yet is mentioned in the Book of the Dead, it reads, "Follow the open-off paths, Anubis, the divine embalmer, who holds the key to Asiut. We need to find where the trail begins." And now we have a problem here. Yeah, fuck it, we don't need the champagne. We have enough morale. You're right. Oh, okay, that is already here. So, examine the map should reveal the trail. God's followers pray to him at his temple, surely. Yeah, I don't like God, so there's it. Hardly a challenge for a seasoned navigator. The trail points to an oasis at a crossroad between two mountainous hinterlands where, legend has it, one of the entrances to the underwood lies below water. Dark orange cliffs cast a soothing shadow over the oasis, accompanied by the joyous din of traveling merchants, wanderers and treasure seekers. You look up to a high cliff and can't help but wonder where a death-defying leap into water would take you. Now I have to go for God. Okay, so we take a leap of faith into water. You nimbly climb a burning rock. You take a sharp breath as you step to the edge of a cliff, then air rushes around you as you fall. You zip into the cerulean waters below with barely a splash, fearlessly avoiding a series of cruise spurs that jut up from the shallows. As you open your eyes, a strong current drags you through a series of algae-clad passages before a series of weird lights invite you to push upwards into an air hole. Your faith is rewarded. You find yourself in a shallow chamber, painted with a once beautiful depiction, a humble reed raft carrying the sun out of the rippling waters into the star-dotted sky. 2 dark passageways lead further into the stone. Raft dives into water beside the left door just as you dove to get there. As you rose from the water, so does the raft by the right hand door. Ask the historian for her advice. She spits water from her mouth and clears her nose. Her usually quiet demeanor is overcome by passion as she examines the painting. They say the raft holding the sun travels between the lands of the living and the dead. See? Here the raft emerges triumphant from the maternal waters. And there, darkness takes it, and the journey underground begins. Do you see? The land of the dead, the necropolis. They are one and the same. We must follow the journey as was ordained, westward, into the evening. Okay, they say the raft holding the sun travels between the lands of the living and the dead. Raft emerges triumphant from the maternal waters, and there darkness takes it and the journey underground begins. I actually don't get it. If she's saying westward into the evening, yeah. And dives into waters, let's see what it is. Interminable galleries wind across and over each other, spanning fathomless pits on spindly natural bridges. For hours you walk with no sign of relief until light. You scramble and dig, extricating yourselves until you come to stand on a small ledge above an incredible sight. A vast necropolis, scattered with dust-clad pillars, strange pyramids, and cyclopean arcs spanning fathomless chasms of darkness. In the center of it all, casting a shadowy pall over the city, stands a mausoleum of godly proportions. Atop the grim entrance, several ominous signs are carved. Ask the historian to translate the signs. But the light in her eyes at the wonder around her soon fades, replaced by a darker, more fearful mood as her fingers trace the glyphs, her lips breathlessly shaping the arcane sounds within. Here rests Osiris Unenifer, by the care of watchful Anubis, until forever is no more, and vengeance falls upon his foes. Within lies judgment, without oblivion, and all are his dominion. Come to him with a true heart, and join in the secret feasts of the Duat. Ignore the warning, we go in. A long passage slopes down into the earth. Ornate paintings must once have covered every inch of the walls, but now only indecipherable lines and constellations survive, mere memories of what must have been a wondrously complex depiction of the night sky. Newt, the dusk-winged, whispers the young scholar reverently. A narrow chamber lies ahead, empty but for a few scuttling black beetles. The paintings here are in a far greater state of conservation. Human bodies with monstrous animal heads, cosmically vast landscapes, and pagan offerings to name but a few. 2 lower passages head east and west into the darkness, below a set of arcs covered in symbols. Oh, what does that mean? End of a passage marked... oh, come on. Go into water. Oh. Unfortunate loss. We lost a specialist. She was but a few paces ahead of you, but all of a sudden the scholar has vanished. Perhaps something awful befell her, or perhaps this is indeed the correct path, and she no longer has use of you. Ahead is a low-ceilinged hall surrounded by ornate dusky pillars. The sealed door, unadorned and heavy, is carved into the opposing wall. All around it stretches a masterfully painted scene. A set of giant scales, one bearing a beating heart, the other a feather. Anthropomorphic beasts take careful note of the proceedings while a ghastly, fiendish monster snaps at the heels of a line of terrified figures. As you look around, a strange, distant howling startles you. A hidden door is very slightly ajar, betrayed by wind blowing over its threshold. Stand the try and trust your fate to Anubis. We are entering with pure heart. A long silence fills the chamber as your torch softly sputters out. The darkness comes quickly, and then the sound of softly lapping water near your feet. Something, several somethings, weave silkily between your toes, unseen monsters stalking, sensing, lurking. You mutter in breathless prayer. Unexpectedly, perhaps your humility, your calm, has a positive effect. As unscannily as it came, the water seeps away, taking the strange entities with it. The path ahead is clear. A high chamber stretches into the darkness around the basalt pyramid. At the pyramid's bone-white crown is a pedestal, bearing the fabled statue of Thor. Standing before it is the historian. She seems entranced, her fingers inches from the statue's exquisite golden limbs. Her mutterings echo strangely. At last, they will know. Such opportunities. Never want for anything again. Something draws your attention at the foot of the pyramid. Slithering there, a patch of restless and unworldly darkness. The historian's hand reaches out towards the statue. Okay, will we grab the effigy from her, or it's a prize now? Turn away. We will grab it. You bound stupidly towards her, crying for her to beware, but billowing tendrils of mist wrap around her as dark, many-colored fumes spew from deep grooves around the pyramid's base. You plunge forward through the mists. It feels just like a sandstorm, like minuscule shards of glass tearing at you. A scream fills the chamber, inhuman and terrified. Yours, hers, or something else. Rumbling shakes the ground. A chorus of ear-shattering whispers peels at your skin. Something within you breaks. Dissolves. Your eyes burn with a blazing white halo, a silhouette, great wings, the promise of wrath. You wake up, pale and dizzy beneath a great ceiling fan in a sweltering hotel room. It seems it was a bout of cholera that took you to the edge and back again. Okay, so apparently we failed here. Well, time to go for a final station. So in the meantime, our puncture delivery has nearly arrived.
Stations!
You may also be sold.
Sir Archibald Blake.
Okay, so diplomacy.
A true pirate. I've heard. Fine. We'll talk.
I pride myself on that. Every little bit could make a difference.
Yeah, I want to be allied with you guys before I kill you later. Okay, so Cape Trelawney.
I see a fleeting figure upon a hill.
Wild, abandoned courses
Magnifying
to every
glasses.
limb.
Acceptable, but could be better. So, and our expedition is underway. Can't really do much in the meantime. Well, at least our World's Fair is being successful. We can probably soon reap in the rewards, right? Yeah.
We careen into the unknown. Pressing engagement.
The Culysma Canal. The explosion scattered debris across the canal. As your helmsman carefully steers into the nascent Culysma Canal, a deafening blast ahead of you sends most of your crew sprawling across the deck. The initial shock overcome, they rush to their stations and pull the ship into a crawl, bringing it to rest mere feet away from the listing flame-wracked carcass of a ship. Doubtless, it will be days before all's cleansed navigation can resume. One of your sailors furrows their brow. Ain't it odd that there ain't no one in the water? Odd indeed. In fact, there's no trace at all of the exploded ship's crew. An irresistible mystery. Okay, yeah, 200%. We are going to request ship records from the canal authorities. It takes some persuasion, but you convince the officials to let you look into the cargo report for the ship. It reads, FS Deux Frères. Deux Frères are from Equiana, cleared for crossing this day. Approachery and tours. Noted, nothing salient, yet something feels off, and your sailor quickly remembers. FS? Is it not an imperial prefix? Then why register the ship as a foreign? Slowly, it dawns upon you. Assuming this is no mistake, does it not imply deliberate sabotage by your own countrymen? It may have implications for the crown if you were to inform the locals. These people have a right to know. It is a difficult decision to make, but your crew decide to share the information with the Culysma authorities, believing no loyalty should take precedence over righting an injustice. The Canal Master thanks your captain profusely, commending his honesty and insisting that your crew be rewarded for their integrity. Before taking his leave, your captain extracts a promise from the grateful official that no mention will be made to anyone as the source of the information. So, will we go to the Savannah or the Holy City? We'll go to the Holy City, of course. I might actually need another district.
We earned this.
We are going to need engineers, if I'm not mistaken. Unless, of course, I build a few more town halls and increase the workforce that is being delivered. I mean, we don't need much income.
They've had their fun. Let's have ours.
Okay, what do we have here? Workforce plus 20, income per house plus 1. Okay, now these definitely need to be upgraded.
I have the amp half the time.
Okay. Missing residents. Really? We now have to wait here?
Admiral!
Yeah, wait a second.
An explosion in one of your factories.
And another big challenge. Okay, so, and here we still have something that increases workforce, right? Right? Workforce plus 10. Don't want bonus income. I want workforce.
Thank the Icklebickle Barn, mate.
Okay, so now here, the holy city, right? A holy pilgrimage! Tales abound of a city sacred to all in this land, and of a holy pilgrimage that must be undertaken by the faithful at least once in their lifetime. Intrigued, you dock at a busy port, a major hub for those on this journey. As you wander the streets in the cooling shade of antique ruins, the dust-hemmed white robes and sturdy sandals of the passers-by betray their wearer's devout intentions. Snippets of enthusiastic and fervent chatter convince your crew that they must see this holy city for themselves. You are perusing an eager trader's wares when a man approaches, ornate weapons latched to his side and back. Mahaban, friends, are you here on pilgrimage? Aye, we come from afar to see the holy city. He eyes you sympathetically. The Wadi is a dangerous place, rainfalls and Badawi brigands abound. Join the caravan, it will be safer. Such a generous offer is hard to decline, and the following dawn finds you clad in the white garb of a devout, joining the steady pace of hundreds of other pilgrims along the long, dry riverbed. The journey is slow, but safe, and it is barely noon the next day when the caravan reaches the outskirts of the holy city and slowly disbands. You look around, uncertain where to head next. Head for the temple to complete your pilgrimage. Crowds flock to a vast walled courtyard with intricately arched colonnades. Intrigued, you follow the throng, but find the yard is entirely empty save for a towering structure of gilded black stone at its center. Swept up in the procession, you cannot help but be awed by the drone of countless muttered fervent prayers. The devout circle of stone in ever-nearing cycles, it being perhaps the most important part of their often months-long journey to this, the holiest of cities. A man in priestly garb hails you from an alcove in the creamy stone walls, amicably pointing at a paneled door behind him. He seems friendly enough, but then you still have much to do before leaving the city. Follow the man. Seizing the opportunity to leave the stifling crowd, you follow him into a set of dimly lit rooms smelling of frankincense and myrrh. All around, walls are piled high with ancient-looking books and maps, tombs of venerable learning in a score of language and scripts, a testament to the man's profession as a scholar. One book in particular sits nonchalantly on a small red velvet cushion below the wooden arabesques of a slender window, its thick leather cover finely inlaid with minute gems and golden ink. So, ask where you learned such an array of languages, remark upon the ornate book, comment upon the integrity of some words. A language is the heart of a people. Its sound, the music of a word they hear, its grammar, the image of their understanding, its history, another tale of creation. He leans quietly on the back of a comfortable low chair, eyes lost in the haze, undulating warmly outside the Moorish window. The poem tells of how the birds once joined a pilgrimage to find the Simor, how he spoke to each in his language and how they knew thence the truth of his words. He smiles with such joy that the weariness of age fades from his face for a while. Long have I idled here, lost in what I knew. It is time I learned anew, and heard the song of birds of all nations. If you would have me, so wise a man could be a great blessing on your onward journey. Continue the journey.
Ready for anything.
Okay, and what happened here? There are ruins of one of his... Oh, copper mine. I see. Well, that has been replaced. Okay, time to go back to the new world. Here we also have a lot of artisan workforce available, but no, we want to go back to Cape Trelawney, not the new world. So I need to upgrade those people here. That means I need to wait a little bit. So 20, 180, 360. I need more.
Life here is a wonder.
Okay, and with these changes, we should be able to upgrade a few people then. Get the additional workforce here.
Life is like seawater.
We are running out of fur coats, really?
You more than passed the test.
That's actually quite sad. So, and you can soon be upgraded. So, we are now spending nearly an hour already in this episode and we are still not yet in Enbesa. Oh, what can I say? I want to complete that expedition.
Workforce shortage.
I am well aware of that, dear game.
We careen into the unknown.
You know what? For now, I'm going to limit your fur coat supply.
We could use just about anyone.
It will all take so long. So, what do you want? A pickup quest?
Carpe diem.
Okay, so quest book. Lost Swords quest.
Maneuvering. On course.
So we will do that real quick.
Show me what you have.
So, and you can now continue again.
You surprise me.
Okay, now let's go back to Cape Trelawney, collect the rewards from the World's Exhibition. World's Fair.
I feel as certain they'd go for a song at auction.
I could now select from all these, but I want to go for maximum. Banyan tree of a sacred set. Oh, look at that. We could in theory have the epic red tiger locust lotus. But I don't know where it is. And sacred we already had everything there. So I have a red tiger lotus. The question is also where? Apparently I have it. I have found it, but I don't own it. Weird. Oh well.
Where are the best margins?
There be monsters abroad.
Blessed rains! White, sun-touched lands stretch out before you, long pale grass glittering with the night's rain, while a scattering of trees provide occasional shade from the already warm orange sun. Unseen amongst the dense matted grass, multitudinous creatures awake to the dawning day, nattering away gaily as the savannah comes to life. A low dell not a mile away hides a blossoming waterhole where numerous strange and foreign beasts are gathering before that day's heat truly begins. Nestled in the shells of a set of monolithic spurs looming high above the plains, surely the views worthy of a king. The climb is arduous and long, but your topman trace a forgeable path for the other sailors, using thick ropes and residues of flour hastily brought over from the camp. At least you reach the topmost spur, a long slab of ochre-red stone, worn by countless rainfalls and storms. Endless wildlands stretch below you, dust-colored and windswept. In the distance, rain clouds swirl over a patch of darkness, and a deep golden hush falls over the land, broken only by the slow ambling of strange, tall-collared distant animals. A low threatening growl suddenly echoes behind you, and you turn to face lions, territorially baring their fangs at your crew. You have trespassed upon Pride Land. Intimidate the beasts with loud noises and gestures. Acting as one, your crew starts stomping the ground rhythmically, battering the stone with such force that it trembles, fiercely waving their arms in large circles, concealing their terror as best they can. Startled, the lions slowly edge backwards, their low growls no longer threatening, but worried, and promptly disband, gracefully bounding up to stuntly prickly bushes where their den must be hidden. Preferring to err on the side of the safety, your captain orders a swift retreat down the spur, while the pride is cowed and cautious. Evening finds you all hunted around the campfire, exaggerately recounting the encounter with the pride to those sailors who had stayed behind. The sudden cry of wild dogs is heard distantly in the night, and you wonder at the beauty and majesty of this foreign land, strangely satisfied with the bloodlessness of your expedition.
Not the worst manifest.
Seriously, how much more is there to find?
You've got the credentials.
Workforce shortage. Dealing with you could be a lottery.
So those here can soon be upgraded, at least that is what I hope. Yeah, in theory, that should not be a problem. Well, the last
Workforce shortage.
Always take a bit more.
Some nice little slivers in there.
Workforce shortage.
New orders?
An empire covers both land and... Ah, yes, the...
How thrilling! A renowned personage has arrived.
Untold perils await us.
What a jolly, pure
Okay,
pleasure.
do we have another interesting item that increases the workforce?
The people celebrate your leadership.
Crowds from far and wide.
so I get another plus 30%. And you, please, now move to Cape Trelawney and New Kebablord.
Collier reporting in.
The royal seal upon it.
Workforce plus 50%, that is good. Perfect. That is something I need. Come on, I just want to find more workforce.
I could simply go to press.
What do you want? Yeah, acceptable. So... I guess we are moving with that ship towards prison, while we are going here for the, hopefully, last expedition here. The last day of Tarnage. One of the lower halyards suddenly snaps, slashing through the air with serpentine speed as the sail it was shackling swells with the seasonal winds. The ship lurches hard to port, cutting through strange mists until, with a resounding squeal, the keel grinds to a halt on pebble-scattered shores. Scores of minute piles of pale sand are scattered across the beach, thousands upon thousands of wispy pyramidia, stretching up to woodlands beyond. Dark shapes jut out of the sand irregularly, fragments of ancient derelict and long-forgotten vessels carefully preserved in brine and surf. Perhaps something of their tale may yet be found on the strangest of islands.
Please.
Explore all the plains. The trees here stretch into tortuous shapes, clad in alien-hued pale greens and green barks. Thick bushes grow errantly across the dust-swathed stone plain, while short funnel-barred trees loom over them. One genus particularly strikes your fancy. Its dense branches stretch up like arms toward the sky, cupping the close foliage into dark green umbrellas, its bark torn and oozing a dark blood-like resin. A smile of relish spreads on one crewman's face as he discovers its plump fruit to be ripe. All gather around, gorging upon the fallen fruit, when a woman points out the silhouette of distant houses on a mountainous plateau. Explore the plateau! Small, gold-winged finches roost lazily among the thick woven branches of strange stout trees, while lizards large enough to fill a bucket unblinkingly follow your crew's progress through the brush. There's a cry of horror as the legs of a many-eyed, grey-furred colossus of a spider wave like a piano hand on a branch overhead. More carefully scrutiny reveals a large milky sack among the fallen leaves below, and you shudder at what might have spilled forth had you carelessly trodden upon it. Suddenly the soil gives way, and you tumble through darkness down a long, damp slope. When the dust settles, the dim light reveals a vast underground chamber. Oddly, there are several antique and broken crates scattered in a corner. A gangly or burned woman wisely suggests seeking a path that slopes slightly upward. A rank, cloying dampness pervades the air, and your crew soon learn to follow their nose rather than their eyes, seeking out wisps of fresher air in the darkness. A hazy, chalky half-light settles as you ascend to the mountain's heart, past pillars with fantastically alien shapes. Ahead, towering buildings of clay-brown stone cluster in a colossal chamber, light dancing across beams and naked mortar, a colony of bats fluttering away from the glare of your torches. Many scripts have been etched onto every wall, a fading memory of a long-gone people, and even the faint promise of daylight high above cannot dim the party's fascination for the scene. Time to study the ruins! Tokens abandoned by past visitors abound in the many alcoves hollowed out of the city's caverns walls. Silver eagles, worn green by time, join argent stars with missing rays in silent vigils, surrounded by crests and copper coins that trace the bloodlines of strange kings. Everywhere, the relics of a storied past profess the island's position as a place of trade, perhaps pilgrimage, yet no tokens of recent centuries seem present among the horde. A man shouts suddenly. A dense wall of towered prickly shrubs has mysteriously parted, unveiling a narrow path along the cliffside to a village on the mountain's peak. A score or so of houses, sea-washed and sunburned in red and white, rear the empty, many-eyed sides high above the plains far below. Find the town's seat of power. The path winds ever steeper through the smattering of houses to the summit of the hill, where a bent shrine edged with faded figures of abandoned gods sits beside a deep well. A low stone vault leading into the cliff hides a store of rare essences. Ghee, frankincense, myrrh, santal, and cinnamon, with careful wax seals preserving the hallowed contents, making it a valuable trove for integrity dealers. A low, sturdy palace sits on the edgemost spur, resolutely intact despite years of neglect. As the party reaches for the door, a sudden howl of wind breaks the cool silence. An unexpected thunderstorm surges up from the valley below, hurling rain and tempest upon the unwary company. Seek shelter in the regal building. The corroded hinges need to be excised from the frame before it can easily be prized open, and the company slip into the dusky hall, glad to escape the swelling tempest. There's an air of rustic elegance to the faded red walls, patterned with white chalk. A low secretary of rich chocolate wood holds a wealth of parchments old and new. Who is it that comes unheeded to these halls? Comes a sudden, commanding voice. And what have you done to my door? A venerable man stands atop a nearby staircase, clad in raiment of gold and turquoise, his long beard braided with brands of netted gemstones. His hands rest on the railing for support, but such is the nobility of his bearing that your expedition find themselves bowing low to him. Truth, lie, or big lie? Make a choice. Yeah, I am honest. He smiles softly. Rarely does fate needlessly bring visitors to the land of Punt. Years has it been since we sure saw such life. Plague and exile took it long ago, and now I am a king without a people. Weariness flashes across his face before he composes himself again. As with all things, even Tarnitjer must return to the mists. Take what riches you may find. I ask only this of you. Cherish the fleeting moments with your kind. Too often early soured by fate, and keep the memory of this land alive. No land truly dies until its story has entirely passed from memory. He bows curtly and steps into the shadows. Stunned, you search the palace for him, but he has vanished. You find many treasures, and as Tarnitjer sinks back into the fog, one man swears he saw a gargantuan figure slither to rest around its shores, nesting the island on an embrace of gold and turquoise scales. Treasures of Sileamidos. Nice. Okay, time to continue the journey.
She said fair enough.
Phew, okay, that's quite a lot. Really? I mean, really?
Room to maneuver.
Okay, now going back to Cape Trelawney.
I am quite satisfied, thank you.
Your ship has returned from its voyage.
So, and here we get one of our workforce items.
Begin the turn.
I just want to deliver. Workforce, yeah, we don't need happiness. We need
About time we toasted to profit.
Oh, we already got here 50% more workforce. Time for another 30%. Good. So I probably need to build here another one. Okay, now we have a bit more of engineer workforce available. Let's see if we now finally found a new event. Smoke on waters. Ship astern, Captain. She's gaining on us. It's an attack. A powerful ship, Latines taut with dry wind, port escaping with unexpected violence, swivels out of a hidden nuke past the heavily wooded coast. She's flying a flag of carmine and sable emblazoned with a triumphant sun, colors unknown to any of the crew. As she deftly weaves in and out of the waves, catching the draft masterfully to close the distance with great speed, a thunderous explosion rocks her port side. Something whistles through the air and plummets into the emerald waters behind your ship. You swing hard to port, breaking line as your gun port creak open hurriedly and your deckhands take careful aim. Well, both options are not great.
Uncertain shores.
Terrified screams echo across the water from the enemy ship as two of their masts come crashing down, scattering your foes and sending several of their topside guns hurtling into the churning sea. A new volley, fired with the same deadly accuracy, easily cuts through their foremast, crushing several topsmen. As the smoke clears, you spy a burly man in what must be the officer's attire, holding a young man at gunpoint. "Mercenary murderers!" he bellows over waves. "Trust Ketima to stop to such methods. Silence your guns, or your friend here will taste lead. Will taste lead." Yeah, let's go bribing. Zero? Wow, okay, and I thought I can... Well... Then I refuse to bribe. Your bribe attempt failed. Impossible. We do not care for what you've earned in blooded injustice. There is no price worth sacrificing our freedom. As for him... He points to the young man dressed in fine garb and looking slightly worried. He assures us you are a rescue party sent by the usurper Ketima. Take this message back to your master from us. He nods to a nearby gun crew, hastily swivel the gun's mouth towards your deck. Ah. Yeah, we are Ketima's wrath. The man draws himself up with dignified fear. Wrath? His vengeance, you mean? Too long has he sent his hounds against us to clap the irons of his new empire upon our people. We will have none of it. We bow to no king that is not of the elder blood, least of all a common upstart. In a sudden flurry of movement, having sensed the captain's grip loosen, the young prisoner elbows him in the ribs and leaps into the sea before he can be seized. Shoot the emissary if you must, splutters the red-faced captain. But when the young man fails to resurface, he realizes his bargaining chip is gone. He orders his guns be turned. They are aiming for your crew. Crackerjack, your gunners slide the heavily 15-inch projectiles into the muzzle of the aftmost cannons ripping some of their own shirts to pad the barrel and avoid windage, lest the ball deviate from its trajectory or exploded before leaving the cannon. The screw scrambled to cover, then a flare of flame and resounding blast. Splintered wood soars into the air as the round shot tears through ballast, mast, railing, and bone. Spare shots ring out, a foolhardy attempt at retaliation, before a second broadside crashes into the ship's underbelly. As your captain signals to leave these dangerous waters, a scraping, scrambling sound is heard on the portside ladder. Wait for the intruder to show himself. Hearing the dry click of rifles cocked and ready to fire, a voice protests from below the railing. "Hold fire! I am the man they were holding prisoner." After a moment's silence, a hand appears upon the railing, followed by the lithe figure of a young prisoner, evidently disconcerted by the score of rifles aiming at him. "Sorry for dragging you into this unfortunate situation. Those rogues sank my ship and slayed my crew, and I was desperate for any kind of help." As he says this, the crew lower their rifles a little. "I feared they wished to prize from me my lord's secrets and plans. When I saw your sails, it seemed my only reprieve, so I told them Janihoi Ketima sent you." Who were those poor ruffians? Warmongers and brutes in the service of the Princess of Angareb. Noble folk, but their refusal to honor the Emperor has driven them to violent ends. Ends which I feel only ever result in grief and pain. But why attack you? Of course, pardon my manners. I am Binyam, son of Kyria, emissary of His Imperial Majesty Ketima. I am on a mission to seek out experts from around the world to assist with the many ambitions my lord has for Enbesa. The Emperor wishes for the name of Enbesa to be sung and admired for its learnedness, beauty, prosperity, and wisdom. But let us not tarry here. Come, follow me to Taborime, where my lord will be sure to reward your brave generosity. Set sail for the south, pass the pillared reefs with ochre flowers, cross the marshes, and then you will see it, ancient Enbesa, with gold-lit mountains, slumbering lions, and proud peoples.
These
Yanihoi, Ketema. May I introduce my benefactor, a renowned city planner from the distant north.
Such noble hearts are ever welcome in Enbesa. So, you heard I was seeking for talent such as yours to expand our new capital.
Our meeting was serendipity alone, my emperor.
Then the Lord truly smiles on you. There is opportunity here to be part of a tale greater than all of us. So far, I have neglected this arid province of the Empire, seat of the kings of old. But from the dust, a garden will bloom anew. Many lives of kings has it been since last Enbesa was so united, frail as that legacy may hold. Some would see us divided, each to their own purpose, but they are blind to the greater threat. Hungry eyes turning south towards us. In unison and with pride, we will return their stares.
So must all stand to defend their share, or be eaten.
And so to you, I would entrust the raising of Taborim, our new capital, on these lands. May it grow to unite all Enbesa under one covenant. Young Binyam will help you settle, share his plan for the canals. Taborim may soon shine like a jewel of peace on the girdle of this great nation.
Only a fool loosens that grip.
Well, seems like we finally arrived. And I am happy. So, this was a very, very long...
matters of great importance concerning all Enbesa.
Very long
Will
expedition.
you work with me to help my people? I, Sale Ketema, Emperor to millennial Enbesa, and heir to the scepter of Covenant. May you rest here a while, seafarer.
And I think, since the episode has now lasted for so long, this is a very good point to end it for now. We finally found Africa. Enbesa, to be more precise. And in the next episode, we are going to start building here. I am really looking forward to it. And with that, I say goodbye, and see you next time in Anno 1800. Bye bye.